nearly 600 people here. So it's really good to see you here, and the smaller group is certainly wonderful. It may say that we're actually getting information out to you and keeping you informed, and we want to make sure that we keep doing that as well. So before we get started here, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Josie Williams. Many of you have probably already sat through one of the presentations that we have. I'm the Public Information Officer. Can you hear me? Can't hear me. Okay, this lady here was saying she couldn't hear me, so maybe I need to put it closer to the mouth here. So last time we were here, we had a very successful and supportive community meeting. My name is Josie Williams. I work as the Public Information Officer for the Washington Incident Management Team 2, and we are out there at the Incident Command Post trying to get information to you with many other public information officers that are working very hard out in the community and on the telephones and doing lots of social media and updates and things like that. So we hope that that you're getting the information you need, and if you're not, we have a phone number. You can certainly give us a call and let us know what you need from us. So I'll start out by introducing our two incident commanders. They're not brothers, they're not related, but we have Bruce Holloway and we have Ross Holloway. So we'll have them come up here and just say a few words, and then we'll get started. Do they look alike?
I'm younger.
Yeah, right.
Not by much.
And we're not sure. We might be related. And I'm, one of the cool things about this incident, I've seen this guy's name on the papers for years because I'm in Washington, he's in Oregon, and I've always wondered who he was, and now I get to meet him. So, can you hear me? All right. All I wanted to say was welcome to the meeting tonight. We've got our staff folks here that are going to give you a good update on what's happening today. I'm sure you saw a little bit of smoke out there, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. And so enjoy, and thanks for coming, and maybe we'll see you again, maybe we won't, I don't know.
And I'm Ross Holloway, and I work for the Oregon Department of Forestry, and we are in a unified command with the Forest Service and the Department of Forestry and the Estacada Fire Department. So I represent the Department of Forestry with the team. And Bruce and I did get a chance to visit up at the Silver Fox RV Park, I think yesterday. And I just wanted to say, we just got a lot of appreciation up there from folks, and folks were just great. And so I want to thank you all for being supportive with us, the team efforts, and we hope to keep it that way. We're working hard out there today, and we'll be around after the presentation, and we'll mingle around. So if you have questions for Bruce or I, just don't hesitate to come up and ask.
So just before we get started, just wanted to say that normally what we do is we have our speakers just say a few words. We hold off on the questions until the very end. We have lots of people who are out there ready to answer your questions. So once we finish up, we can break out into the areas where we have the maps, and you can ask all the questions you need to. So we'll get started with Rex Reed, the Deputy Incident Commander.
Good evening, and I have to work for those two gentlemen there, so you might want to pray for me a little bit on that. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is give you best information we know as of right now. Obviously, with smoke in the air, it's been kind of an active day for us, but a good day. We're gaining ground, we're narrowing the focus. That's our intent, to make sure that we're protecting you as a community, as well as making sure we're protecting the forested lands for all the agencies we're currently working in there and the resource values associated with that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to first walk you around the fire, kind of give you a status. We're currently sitting at just over 4,300 acres total acreage right now, including the escape. It may be give or take a few hundred acres in there. We'll know more after we get an IR flight overnight on that. We're sitting about 45% contained. What contains means we've got good hard trail in either dozer, roads, hand line, or natural barriers, and we've mopped in so we're confident it's going to hold in a wind event, that sort of thing in there. So I'm going to start up here on the spot, up here in Division Alpha. That one is it's 100% mopped up right now. We put what's called a handheld palm IR through that. Did not pick up any heat in there. We're still doing some finalizing just to verify, but that's in really good shape. That spot's about 72 acres. Then as we come around here in the Silver Fox RV Park, that's really good. I got a chance to get in there and look in there today. The crews have done a really good job. They're finalizing some mop-up. Also, as we come all the way around here, kind of into Boot there, there is a lot of activity going on all the way along this line, including these spots that sit down here in that bit of a U shape in there. Those are all lined separate from the main fire. Then we come down in here to the division break with Alpha. Lots of horsepower, I mean lots of staff out there working, engines, crews and stuff. Great work being done in there. Almost the whole length of that perimeter has hose laid on it. So we come down here in Division D or Delta, same rule applies. Great effort in here. My intel just before I came down here today is a good part of that has between 100 and 50 feet of mop up on the perimeter. So it's very stable. We're happy with that. We continue to push that line in there where it's safe to do so as far as mop up all the way down the highway. I think we talked the other night about the steepness of this slope. That went off very well. We put a couple interagency hotshot crews in there when they dug trail down there, and they've mopped that up, and we've got black line to the edge of the trail down here. Then we start into Division Mike. We come up here along here. We've got this is what we call an alternate line, but we also have tried to tighten up tight line along in through here all the way to the division break. They've continued with that. They've actually started mop up in that division. A little bit behind Alpha and Delta just because of accessibility, but we're gaining some ground. Then we come to Romeo, and this is where the smoke has come from. Basically, right about in this area here last night, just about shift change, that's about 6:30 or 7 in the evening, we had a pretty major blowout. We put air resources on that, and what we mean by blowout, it escaped from our existing perimeter, is we put air resources right on that until dark. It was just too steep to get any sort of folks in there at night with night shift, but we continue to get in there first thing this morning. We were gaining some ground, but then as the east winds picked up, and they were actually predicted to come up about 2 o'clock this morning. They actually a little bit later. You obviously observed that too as well. About 8, 9 o'clock things started to pick up. And by 10 o'clock, we had some gusts that as much as 40 miles an hour on the ridge tops. We were gearing up for it, anticipating, but with this very steep canyon here in the South Fork of the Clackamas, it just was too dangerous to get folks down in there. We've been working this all afternoon with air resources. This has come out of the canyon and almost to the 45 road. Up in there, there has been some spots just over the top of the 45. Just as I came in here talking with operations, it sounded like they had boxed it in with retardant. There is a couple homes that went to level 3 evacuation this afternoon, as well as another 4 homes that went to level 2 evacuation, and then a bunch of the homes out in here went to level 1, just notification wildfire in the area. We had, I'm not sure how many loads of retardant, but we put a significant amount of fixed wing retardant in there to help check that spread. The good news is it came up out of the canyon, and honestly where it's friendly for firefighters, where we have easier, we can use dozer lines in there, we're getting into some managed stands. We're confident we're going to pick that up. We're going to be having night resources out there tonight. Our staffing has increased a couple hundred more folks. So we started today right around 800. We'll be darn close to 1,000 by midday tomorrow. And we've added some extra resources in here just to make sure we get this good and secure. and also finalize mop up on the rest of the fire. So let's talk a little bit about the weather. The weather tonight, we're still having that east wind component. As you know, living in this area, that's likely to go on all night. The only good news in that is humidity is going to come up a little bit. The last relative humidity reading, we have the staff out there on the fire line call those into our incident meteorologist about on an hourly basis. It was already up in some spots up to 50%. That's a good thing because it dropped down into the low 20s today. So we got some increase. That should help check a little bit of the fire behavior. Wind will offset that humidity a little bit. So we're going to have some activity probably all night long. As we cycle into tomorrow, the winds are going to slacken off. We're going to switch around to more on an offshore push and more stable air here for the next few days. Today, we talked about Haynes Index last time we visited. Today, again, we were at a Haynes 5. That was the same thing we were here a few days ago. What that is like opening a damper on your stove. It opens up and vents it. The good news is tomorrow that's going to settle down, stabilize the atmosphere a little bit more. And even the better news, as we get into the middle part of the week, there seems to be a pretty good chance of some precip. So we're cautiously optimistic, and I think we got all the parts and pieces in place. The next thing I want to do is I want to show you, and hopefully nobody gets airsick here, but we're going to kind of show you an idea on the terrain here with what we call Google Earth. It's about a 1 and 45-second loop here. We'll let you look at that, and then I'll kind of describe some descriptions here as we go through this. So we're coming up the Clackamas River here towards the fire footprint, and this does not reflect the additional acres we burned today. And you'll start to kind of recognize the features. Hopefully that shows up fairly well for you. So we're coming up on the fire perimeter here, and we're coming upriver. And the red lines you see are not totally exact, but this computer modeling allows us to get a pretty good idea. You can see how steep and ugly, and you all live here, so you know this. It's not new news necessarily. But this is the kind of ground that we're asking the firefighters to go in and work. Those are the spots we talk about that have been isolated. All those little red blotches out there. Now we've hit the upper end or the easternmost perimeter of the fire, so we're going to turn back around and go downriver. That's that big belly in the line in Division Mike. And we come back into, headed towards the South Fork of the Clackamas. Somewhere right in there, looking down there, it's not reflected on any lines, is where we've had it cross the South Fork of the Clackamas. Okay, Eric, I think you can go ahead and stop it there. Okay, so you can see we've got and again, this is not new news to you all who live here. I would expect you're going to see a pretty solid number of resources out here working. Everything goes well. The next couple days, picking up the area that we had to escape today, we should be up in our containment probably on an average of about 10 to 15% per day. I would guess that we are going to be around working this fire at the type 2 level through the middle part of the week. Then we will be working with our hosts both BLM Forest Service and ODF, as well as Estacada Fire, working through this to start a downsizing, go to more local resources for probably until the end of the season, until enough rain comes to really totally take all the smoke out of this. I wanted to talk about why Estacada Fire and the Sheriff's Department aren't here tonight. They're basically out in unified command with our folks, making sure that we are adequately protecting structures. Estacada Fire asked for some mutual aid today to make sure they were ready in case things move farther to the west than we anticipate, and as well as the Sheriff's Department. So our structural protection specialists, the officers from Estacada Fire and the Sheriff's Office are basically right together out there on scene, making sure that we are ahead of things if the fire happened to move towards more improved property. So with that, I want to introduce Lisa Northrup, the Forest Supervisor off the Mount Hood National Forest.
Hi there. I'm Lisa, so nice to meet you all tonight. I really appreciate the patience you all have had with the fire as we continue to fight it, and I just wanted to take a moment to tell you how much I appreciate the patience of the city and the great resources that you have, as well as Clackamas County, ODOT, and Estacada Rural Fire. It makes a huge difference. I also appreciate the fact that we were able to work seamlessly with ODF and with BLM. It seems like it's really come together really well. So, number one, a shout out to you all for your continued patience as we continue to work towards containing the fire. With that, I will introduce Steve Wilson from ODF.
Thank you, everyone. So my name is Steve Wilson. In my normal day job, I'm the North Cascade District Forester. I have an office in Molalla and an office in Lyons. Today I got to spend some time out on Port Blakely ground the afternoon with Lance Christensen and watched all the air tanker work. And I got to see some of the homeowners, and we were driving by really appreciating the work we're doing. That was really cool. That makes me feel really good working in this community, seeing all the support we're getting. So I'm really excited to be here. I'll be really anxious when the rain comes. So that's really all. I'm hoping to visit with anybody who'd like to visit with me afterwards, like get to know you guys. So thank you again, much appreciated, and we'll talk to you in a little bit.
So we said before, it takes a lot of people to come together to fight a fire like this. A lot of agencies, a lot of all sorts of agencies that come together. And you certainly know that, and the community as well, that we appreciate the support that you've given us while we're here trying to conduct our work. We want to go and make sure that we always thank those who have surrounded us and helped us do our job. So I just want to make sure that if you could, as I call off the agency and the name, if you could stand up and just identify yourself. So we have Lisa Northrup and Jackie Gross with U.S. Forest Service. John Houston with BLM. Again, Steve Wilson with ODF. And Chief Morrissey wasn't able to be here, and the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office also was not able to be here. We want to make sure that we recognize some of the other emergency management partners that we've been working closely with. Nancy Bush, Clackamas County. And she's been working with some folks to make sure that we provide you some social services, materials, and some folks out here that you can stop off and talk to them if in case you need some help with some, whatever it is you need, some services that we can provide for you or they can provide for you. And then do we have any kind of local or state representatives here? We want to make sure that we recognize you as well. No one tonight? Thank you for being here tonight. So with that, I think we can break out into our groups, yes? Nearly forgot, but we have Mike Broughton and Janice Peterson air quality. And it's been incredible working with this group. He comes in there to the information center, has been really showing us his website, talking to us about what we can give the community, some talking points on the air quality and how you can look that information up yourself to help protect yourselves and your community and your family. So thank you, Mike and Janice. And so with that, we can break up into the groups now, and we've got people that will be posted. Thank you again for all the support that you've been giving us on this. We appreciate it. And I can't go without thanking the church. I almost did that, and I tell you, this has been really, really incredible. After a really, really hot, busy day, to be able to come into this peaceful sanctuary and be able to just do this kind of a presentation. We don't get this very often. So thank you, Pastor Yakamoto. Thank you.